There's a myth out there that zoning is not the root cause of our housing crisis, and I would respectfully disagree with that. And some of the best evidence comes at the national level, where you see the last 3 presidents, R and D, have all mentioned and taken action on zoning reform. You additionally see it in red and blue states across the nation right now this year, where zoning reform laws are getting signed by governors of every political party. This is bipartisan in every state that it's done in. And what's really interesting is that the bill champions in each of these states tend to be younger legislators. And why do you think that is? I believe it's because younger generations have had such a struggle to find housing. You heard from Senate President Peterson how he was able to start with his young family on a modest income and find a great home. That doesn't exist for young people anymore. And it's a shame, but we can fix that. We also know, thanks to several studies and real-life examples, that when cities loosen their zoning laws, rents and homes become more affordable. There's no value lost. Things become more valuable, more affordable, excuse me. And there's also a less of a boom-bust cycle, which as Arizonans, we know all too well, we suffered at the hands of that housing boom and bust. When you have looser zoning laws, you can react to the market, as the Senate President mentioned earlier, so you have less opportunity for the boom-bust cycle compared to an over-regulated state. In one study that followed rents in several cities that had loosened their zoning laws, the study found that their rents only increased 1% to 2% annually versus a national average of 30% rent increase, which is what we see here. So what we are doing here in Arizona is not extreme. In fact, 7 other states are doing very similar bills this year right now. Colorado, Florida, Massachusetts, Montana, Texas, Washington, and Vermont all are running bills and getting them on the path to signature by their governor, and Arizona can do this as well. And all these states are doing the exact same thing we're doing. Casitas in the backyard, quicker time frames, design review, limitations. Florida just did a by right bill that passed unanimously in one chamber and almost unanimously in the other. And it's a broader by right bill than what we're trying to do here. Arizona must do this. We must do this for the young person starting in the workforce that needs to find a safe, clean place to live. We must do this for the young family that wants their first home with a yard, but due to a lack of supply is priced out of the ability to achieve their American dream. We must do this for our seniors, who are our fastest growing homeless population. They need housing options that meet their fixed incomes. Ultimately, we have a supply and demand problem, as you've heard already. State government working with local governments can help solve this crisis. It will take political courage of state lawmakers to vote for these bills against the pressure of a loud minority of NIMBYs who don't want any growth anywhere in the state. They have their house and they shut the door behind them on anybody else owning a home. And that's wrong. It will take political courage of local mayors and council members to give up a little power and give it back to the homeowners where it rightly belongs. Our coalition is broad and bipartisan, as you can see. Grassroots groups, real everyday people, from very conservative to very progressive groups, and everywhere in between, are in agreement on these bills. The business community recognizes the importance of this housing crisis and has offered their full support of these bills. The opposition to these bills has no broad coalition of support. They have city mayors, and they have NIMBYs, and they have one lobbying firm. That's it. Making these important reforms around zoning will create an Arizona that has a dynamic housing stock, not just one type. This stock will be ready for its citizens, and it will be affordable, and it will be beautiful. I want to do this for my boys who are growing up now, entering high school and junior high. I don't want them to have to move to another state that has affordability. I want them to stay in Arizona. I want them to be able to buy their first home when they're ready. I don't want them to wait till they're in their 40s and 50s to be able to afford their first home in Arizona. We can keep Arizona affordable, and we can keep Arizonans prosperous by getting these bills to the governor's desk.